Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Round 5 of Norway Chess concluded just a few minutes ago. And so we have 3 classical games that were decided today, the most of any day so far. 2 in the open section, 1 in the women's section, only the second one in the women's section actually. So 3 of those games, I'll be showing them to you all. And we will end the video with a lovely match from one of the Armageddons where someone won by promoting to a knight. But we start off with Magnus Carlsen. He has been the biggest talking point in this competition. Obviously, in the first 3 rounds, he picked up 2 classical defeats. In round 4, he did win against the World Champion Gukesh, who will be in the next game that we cover. He's taking on Praggnanandhaa. But now Magnus is playing Wesley So. He wins this game. He kind of gets back to parity. And Magnus has the white pieces. He plays e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to c4. And it was really funny, because we get an Italian game, but as this game was going on and we got a very solid setup, at some point Magnus went into the confessional and said he wouldn't mind if one of the monitors was covering the Champions League final. Yeah, Magnus would have probably rather been watching the Champions League final than playing this game, as they went deep into the opening theory. All of this has been played before. You can see they have spent some time because it's getting to this exact position. You can see Wesley So was provoked into all of this. Magnus, putting the bishop on g5 in one of the systems and coming all the way back. And now he lunges out with g4, and Magnus has got a decision to make. I mean, not really. He's got 2 choices. He can play knight h4, or he can kind of sack the knight and play bishop h4. Bishop h4 is a very interesting idea. But Magnus just goes for knight h4. The idea, just to show you of bishop h4, is if you take my knight, there's queen takes f3, and I will be getting the piece back, just about. So, for example, bishop e6. There is, let me just get this right, d4. And then, for example, takes... knight takes c4, and you're just kind of putting pressure on this pin, and the queen can slide in, and so things. You can get a good attack on the king, and this would be better for Magnus Carlsen. But knight h4, 1 game left in the database, knight to h5, and now knight to f1. Just probably looking to go back and secure this post to block out this diagonal, which could become a problem, particularly if we get the move f5. We get queen to g5 first, now knight to e3. Bishop takes, rook takes, and now knight to f4. And Magnus is under a bit of pressure here. He really is. Wesley has coordinated everything. He would love to play the move f5. It's basically only this knight and this rook that's not in the game. Magnus's bishop is exerting absolutely 0 pressure on the black position at the moment, and the rook on a1 is not doing everything. Everything in this game so far is happening on the king side, all in this position. And Wesley so far has activated his pieces the best. We get queen e1. Just a good move, and now bishop e6. Looking to trade. It's an interesting idea. Magnus plays f3, and it's an interesting idea because he's perfectly happy to accept a damaged structure with bishop takes, and because here you can get knight f5 check. In between, king h7, and now d takes c4. And this might be okay, and if not better for Magnus Carlsen, simply because the black king might now come under some fire. We can take, we can open the rook, and you've gone too far as Wesley So. So you've got to do this from the right way. So f3, we just get h5. Wesley keeps everything very nice and compact. We get now the bishop going to b5. The knight just gets out the way, and f5 could be coming in the future. We get d4, and we get f6, not f5 just yet. We get rook to d1. Now knight e to g6, rook to d2, rook to f7, king to h1, king to h7, d5 locks everything up. We offer a trade of bishops on d7, which we get, and now Magnus puts his knight on f5. Queen is close to being trapped, if you're not careful, but thankfully the knight is covering that for the moment. And basically what we've got here is an immovable object versus an unstoppable force. Wesley So can continue to try and march down, but there's not much he can do. Magnus has got a very solid position here. He can bring the other rook, he can bring the rooks. You're not going to do much unless someone does something stupid. And this game ends with someone winning, so someone does something really stupid. We get knight to e7, offering a trade. Almost looks like it traps the queen, by the way. Bishop here looks like it traps the queen. Thankfully, the queen can get out. and you're okay. But it's a very interesting decision from Wesley. We get bishop h4, queen to g6, not to g8. Knight goes back to g3, queen to h6, and now c4. What can you do? Rook to f8, rook to b3. Engine is not liking Magnus's position. It thinks Wesley's got a bit of an edge. Knight fg6, knight f1. By the way, you might be wondering, doesn't this look like a free pawn? It is, not at the moment, obviously, because the bishop is hanging. So that's why you have to move the knight to defend the bishop, which gets taken. And now f5. And again, you might be thinking, free pawn? Problem is, these captures are really beneficial because rook takes knight would be checkmate. So you've got to be very careful. So the queen comes back. And now we're starting to take. Queen takes, which is check. Knight blocks. And you have to play g3. Rook is getting in there. We're bringing in the other rook. Now the queen is getting in, and all of a sudden Wesley So is swarming Magnus Carlsen. He brings the king over to g2, but rook takes f3. Slight inaccuracy, but still. Wesley So has arrived in the position. Rook takes, pawn takes, which is check, and Magnus Carlsen does something stupid. Plays rook takes f3. And the problem, the best move here is very silly. It's king to h3, just running. The problem with this is you can lose this with check. The king runs, queen comes in, and what happens is you trade everything into a losing knight endgame. This is a losing knight endgame. And try as he might, Magnus Carlsen, the greatest endgame player of all time, he is not going to win this. The passed d-pawn is a huge problem. Not to mention, Wesley So is up a pawn. Magnus lost a pawn a long time ago. We've got this 4-on-3. Almost 5-on-3 because this is a passed pawn. Yes, you've got this 1-on-2 here, but you can't maximize it because the king's right here. And so the knight is well placed. Check. The knight gets in. It's going to win some pawns. We guard our most important pawn. But takes. Everything is nice and controlled. Everything is nice and controlled. And Wesley So takes down Magnus Carlsen. Just a moment of madness. We now go to the Battle of the Indians. Gukesh Dommaraju versus Praggnanandhaa Ramesh Babu. Gukesh yesterday suffering a defeat to Magnus Carlsen, looking to bounce back against Gukesh, his compatriot. And we get a Queen's Gambit declined. It was a Rogozin defense with Queen a4 forcing Knight c6. It's a very interesting line. Now Queen drops back to c2 and the Bishop drops back to d6. So chess at the top level, ladies and gentlemen. Bishop to g5. We play h6, takes, and now e3. And a semblance of a normal position. Prague decides to go here, and this game is very cagey. Very, very cagey. We get, same side castling, some quiet moves for a bit as players are deciding what to do. Prague makes the decision to play 2 knights versus 2 bishops, which is always very interesting and leads to dynamics. And basically he goes, and he's like, look, I'm going to get a very active position. I'm going to be able to, quickly build and get an attack. And Gukesh has to sit and wait, and either the attack will work or it won't. And he's going to rely on certain defensive tricks. So we get f4, now b6, and Prague decides to play b4. He doesn't want to take. We get a5, and Gukesh, he's striking back. He wants to open the board. He's got 2 bishops. We get rook fb1. Queen drops back to g7. That is the famous fianchettoed queen that, every chess player in the world has to know about. Queen e2, rook db8, and now e4. Prague gets a very nice break in the center against Gukesh, takes. Knight looking to activate, and Gukesh plays rook a7, and all of a sudden the engine thinks Praggnanandhaa Ramesh Babu is slightly better against the world champion. He plays b5, kind of locking everything up a bit. We get a4, which gives some levity. It freezes this as a weakness. This could become a weakness, a4 itself, but, with a rook coming in and stuff like that, and the queen dropping back. But it does mean that this rook can come in here and target this. So we get c6, and now everything is locked on the queen side. We kick out the knight. We bring the bishop to f7, and even though the ancient thinks white is better, it's how do you win this? Prague is down on time. He's bringing the rooks. He's doing everything right. He's building. Where's the breakthrough? e5 is not it from Gukesh, and he's just relying on tactics here. d5 takes. now there are some ideas of, checking the king and winning the queen. So you've got to be very careful. Gukesh is defending this very well, very practically. Queen f2, and now g5. And Gukesh is up a pawn. He's just up a pawn. What can you do? He grabs this, which looks like the sacrifice of a knight. It is and it isn't, because you can take back, but now I get the bishop. Bishop drops back, and now I grab this, and Pragg has invested in all of this, and he is completely winning. He's completely winning. Gukesh might have 2 bishops for a knight and a pawn. It doesn't matter. These 3 pawns are going to be very difficult to stop. But g4. g4. And Pragg throws everything away by taking the pawn. For the life of me, I do not understand why the move d7 was not played. You might think, well, it's going to be stopped. It's not. You have a problem. You're going to have to get material back. You don't have to address this problem, because takes, now the queen gets in. That's not even the best move, but it's good enough. And now there are some serious problems, and this is too slow now. This is too slow. It's a tempi wrong, and queen f2 is wrong. Rook e3 is wrong. So blunders being made both sides in time pressure as they're about to approach time control. This is move 39. Move 40 is a mistake from Pragg. Played with 1:18 on the clock. And Gukesh's response is not the perfect, but now they're going to get more, I think, bonus time and things like that. So king g1. Now we centralize the queen. The game is a complete, fighter fest. Queen d2, f3, and king f2 loses. King f2 loses. If Gukesh can find the right moves, he finds one of them. Bishop takes d6. That bishop is not touchable, because basically if you take the bishop, which is what happens in the game, we swing the other rook in, and you are getting decimated everywhere. You can take here, g takes f3, but now it's mate in 4. Check. Sacrifice the rook. Bishop comes in, mate in 2, check. And wherever the king goes, there will be mate in 1. And the world champion prevails. I mean, for a long time. Basically, up until move 37. Praggnanandhaa Rameshbabu had played a perfect game. Up till move 37, he played 37 perfect moves. By move 40, he was completely lost. Move 40 for both sides. He was in lots of trouble. The game is still level here. He can try and defend. And, a couple moves later, move 43. So, 37 perfect moves, 5 inaccurate ones, and loses the game. Ridiculous. And so Gukesh bounces back. And then, so we go to the women's section. One decisive result there. It was against, it was Zuzhina versus Divya Deshmukh. D4 from Zuzhina. C4 played by, D4, D5, C4, and E6. We've seen this move order into the Queen's Gambit decline already, which is a very weird, but, I'm not going to talk about that every single video. And they played a lot of opening theory. Not going to lie, Divya played some interesting moves, like the knight over here, knight over here. It's not standard, I don't think, to play like this, but, she makes it work. I know she's going to fianchetto her knight. We've seen a fianchettoed queen and a fianchettoed knight. Potentially, we get e4, breaking in the center. I mean, king's still in the middle, queen is there, rook e1 is going to be a huge problem. And white's better. Like, Divya hasn't played this well at all. She's under massive amounts of pressure. We get takes, bishop takes, knight drops to f6, and now just d5. And the thing is, right, this isn't a free bishop. Because takes, and if queen takes, rook e1. Thank you for the queen. So you've got to be super careful. So d5, we get c takes d5, knight takes d5 again. That bishop is not free. Takes, queen takes. Now the knight comes to e6, managing to kind of hold everything together. Check, queen goes to d7, and we get this trade, and that probably wasn't the right thing for Zuzhina to do. There's been a lot of liquidation now, and all the pressure she had is kind of gone, because even though she can get like knight to e5 in, the bishop drops back to c8, which looks super silly. But, I mean, it does everything it needs to do. Everything is defended. Rook a c1, short castle. And Divya has got through the worst. She's down half an hour on the clock. But she's got 30 moves, and she'll be okay. Rook f d1, rook d8, Yes, there's bishop d5, but I just play like king g7, g3, and this game looked like it was petering out for a bit. I really thought they were going to make a draw. A couple of inaccuracies. Divya's pressure is kind of gone. She's managed to get through the woodwork. So unless she does something a bit silly, she's instigating on the queen side. But basically, if you take, I'll activate everything. She's still got this as a weakness, but she can push it forward. She's managed to unwind. We get b4. Now the knight comes into c7. The bishop drops back. We trade off a set of rooks. We bring the knight back. This knight gets in. We offer a trade of bishops. a3 is played. And, the engine always prefers white. It has preferred white for the last, 5 or 6 moves, particularly the last couple. It thinks Zuzhina should have something. It thinks it's better. Zuzhina's 13 minutes up on the clock, but how do you win this? It is a symmetrical pawn structure. It is the exact same pieces. There is so little imbalance. This is impossible to win. Rook d3, bishop b5, rook e3, we bring the rook to d8, king comes back, king goes back, and now it's just shuffling. What is the plan? Now it's all zeros. Rook e6, and, oh! Hang on, did Divya just hang a pawn? On move 40. She down a pawn. Check. And she picks this up. And now we have some imbalance. Because we have 3 on 2, and we have 2 on 1. And Divya has managed to get very good piece activity. The bishop might be better than the knight, but not in every endgame, just simply because it can fight on both sides of the board very easily, and kind of all the knight's anchor squares are on light squares for the moment. And that is a problem because at any point a bishop could take and damage the pawn structure. So the knight gets kicked back to f5, and now look at this, bishop d7. Immediately, if this trade happens, it could be a huge problem. So, what do? Divya doesn't care. And Zuzhina doesn't take. She doesn't want to. Now we get b6, putting a pawn on a dark square. We attack the rook. The rook moves over. Rook moves over, and yes, you can begin pushing your pawn, but look at this. We get the trade. Now it's a 2 on 1 and a 2 on 1, but the knight is active. The knight is active and causing problems. a5, takes. Now now we've got a clean outside pass pawn. That is 3 squares away from queening. But check. King goes over. And now we get onto the a-file, and this is going to be super difficult to defend. Also because, there's a way here for, Zuzhina to try and do this, and to get the rook at a4, to cut off this rook's defense, but, I can always have enough time to get down to, a8. So, rook d5, knight comes back, rook comes in, and Zuzhina gave up the pawn. And now, according to table-based, this is a draw. Not quite clear how she could have defended that, but she's down a pawn, and she's going to go for... What is she done? Rook b8 loses on the spot. Check. And rook c3 doesn't win it. It's funny, because table-based obviously gives you moves that are winning and losing. It's not sure, at least my version, it's not sure at the moment what is winning, what is losing. In this position, there are 2 winning moves, allegedly, for Divya Deshmukh. That is rook a2 check, again. But the main idea is knight d4. That is the main idea. Knight d4, and it really likes the chances, although I play it now and it's a mistake. It thinks probably rook a2 check first, and then if, for example, king here, now it wants rook a3. So it's not sure. It's really not sure. It's a really difficult endgame. So rook c3 could be winning, could be losing. Divya's up a pawn, so, it's not all that bad. Check, the king goes to f8, and yes, there's rook d7, check, and now check. And how do you break through? The engine thinks you might be winning. Rook b7, it thinks it's a mistake. Oh, now the knight comes in. And now you've got problems, because this is under attack. And how do you defend it? You have to defend it in the right way. That's a great move, f5. But now g5. And I have a pawn coming through. And not only that, I have an anchor. I can anchor everything. So, yes, you can go here. I can go back to f6. I can bring the king to g7. And although you're coming this way, I give you a check. And now the knight comes in. And now, after a rook trade, is it winning or is it losing? Apparently, maybe taking the rook was the best thing to do. Rook e7, couple of mistakes and inaccuracies. It's so difficult in the endgame, particularly this one. The engine's not sure, table base, and it's Divya Deshmukh who just manages to get away. And here, after king e3, Zuzhina just decides to resign, and that is because she will be dropping the bishop. And she will not win this game. And so those were the 3 classical games. And now I have one final fun game to show you. It was Alireza Firouzja versus Vincent Keymer. We're not going to talk about this too much. They had a very interesting classical game that ended in a draw. Alireza, obviously, he leads the tournament and, was under a bit of pressure, managed to survive. Keymer was playing nicely. They played a classical game. Obviously, Keymer has the black pieces, so he's happy with the draw. He's got draw odds. And we got into this trade, and Alireza Firouzja was just winning. But also, he hasn't got a lot of time to do this. He does go up in exchange, and what he does is very nice here. He just kind of gets everybody through, and I'm going to show you the moment everyone wants to see. He begins pushing his pawns down the board, and his king comes under fire, so he walks his king all the way up. And what's funny is we get this, which is a beautiful move, and after the king goes up, it is checkmate in 2, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do it? F8, knight. And Vincent Keymer resigns because the king has only one move. And then I think either rook is checkmate. Rook f7 is checkmate. And I'm pretty sure the other rook is checkmate as well. Knight cutting off both of these squares. King cutting off all of these squares. Rooks defend each other. Absolutely brutal. F8 knight is really fantastic. And so Alireza Firouzja wins in the Armageddon in an unbelievable game. That was really good from him. And so let us pull up the standings for you after all the game's action. Let me just get them for you quickly. I clicked on the wrong thing. Apologies. Well, Alireza Firouzja is winning. I'm just looking. Have they not updated? Okay, it seems like I can't get the standings for you at the moment. Alireza Firouzja continues to lead. Wesley So obviously moving up quite a bit. Okay, let's just go Norway Chess. Let's just go into the other view. Norway Chess round 5. Let's just go into this view here. And then what we'll do is we will go out of this. We'll go to overview. And we'll go to standings, obviously being played in Oslo, Norway. And so Alireza Firouzja leads. He's on 10 points. Then it is Wesley So on 8.5. Gukesh on 6.5. 5 games, 1 win, 1 loss, 3 draws, 1 Armageddon win. By the way, Vincent Keymer, who is 5th, has got 5 consecutive Armageddon losses. Magnus Carlsen is bottom of the standings, unbelievably, but 3 classical losses, 1 classical win, 1 Armageddon win in the only draw he had. Praggnanandhaa in 4th place, just above Vincent Keymer, 1 classical win over Magnus Carlsen, 2 draws, and subsequently 2 Armageddon wins. So the world champion moves up. This is the Open. I'm just trying to see in terms of this, if we go to specifically the women, can I get the standings for the women's section? I can. Divya Deshmukh, 8.5, she leads. She's taken over from Bibisara Survivor. Anna Musachuk is in 3rd. Zuzhina is in 4th. Juan, the world champion, in 5th. She's also had a weird event. 5 games, 5 draws, 5 losses in Armageddons. So the same tournament as Vincent Keymer. And Happy Conneru, unfortunately, at the bottom of the standings on 4.5 points. And so that is how everything looks after 5 rounds at Norway Chess. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think of the tournament and of the recaps in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you again tomorrow for round 6.